There's a new premium set available to draft on Arena. You draft between 3 different core sets. So in this video, we're gonna break down every archetype you can draft. We're gonna explain every difference between the 3 packs so you know exactly what to expect. And we're gonna give you the bare chances of winning the draft even if you never drafted any of the 3 sets before. Let's get right to it. When you'll be opening up Arena, this is what you'll be seeing. It's gonna be another premier draft, meaning that you can play up to 7 wins or 3 losses, depending whichever comes first. The payment to enter the event is again 10,000 gold or 1,500 gems, whichever you prefer to pay with. You will be drafting 3 different core sets, more specifically core set 2019, 2020 and 2021. You will be starting with core set 2019, move up to 2020, and then in the last pack you'll be 2021. Like all the other premier drafts, you will be drafting against random people, but playing mostly against people that are in the similar rank as you. Although there are very few people actually playing this current premier draft, which means that you can get paired against people that are quite a bit higher or lower ranking than you are. For example, when I played it, I was in gold rank, but I got to match against people in bronze, like lower bronze, or upper platinum, almost diamond. So it really depends on who exactly is playing at the moment that you're playing. Like I said before, you're gonna start with core set 2019, and you will have 10 different color pairs available to draft, and each color pair will have a different thematic about it. The red-black will be Boros Aggro, blue-black will be Dimir Control, black-white will be Orzov Lifegain, red-black will be Rakdos Sacrifice, blue-red will be Izzet Spells, green-blue will be Simic Big Creatures or Simic blue-white will be Azorius Artefacts, green-red will be Gruul Aggro, green-black will be Golgari Midrange, and green-white will be Selesnya Enchantments. Keep in mind, these are just the basic outlines of the specific color pairs, and you can mix and match depending on exactly what you open. Also, a note, these are only the archetypes that are available in pack 1, so in core set 2019. We're gonna look at what other options are available in the core set 2020 and 2021. Mostly it doesn't really change much, but it's good to keep in mind exactly what is available in specific color pair. First color pair is going to be the red-white one. It plays out like in any other core sets. You're trying to play a lot of aggressive, cheap creatures backed up by combat tricks and removal, and just try to bash down your opponent before they are able to stabilize or play their bigger bombs. A good example of this kind of archetype would be Heroic Reinforcements, which gives other creatures a buff, haste, and create some additional soldiers so you can go white with the strategy. Second color pair would be Dimir Control, which is the blue-black one. In blue-black, you're going to focus mostly on playing a lot of removal and really efficient creatures and bury your opponent in card advantage. Like a really great example would be Psychic Symbiont, which combines everything that this color pair tries to do. You're trying to play flyers to go over the top of your opponent, as well as limit them on resources by making them discard a card, you're drawing a card, and this way increasing your card advantage. In black-white we have Orzov Lifegain. Basically the whole archetype revolves around you gaining life and draining your opponents at the same time and getting some kind of beneficial effect for you. Usually it will be some kind of token generation. For example, the Regal Blood is going to create a 1/1 black bad creature token with flying whenever you're gaining life in that turn. Rakdos Sacrifice is what you would imagine, mostly revolving around sacrificing creatures for profit. It doesn't have any specific synergies, but you're trying to look out for cards that allow you to steal opponent's creatures and then sacrifice them for some kind of an effect. You're trying to pair cards like Act of Treason, which allow you to take control of opponent's creatures, with cards like Tut that allow you to sacrifice these creatures that you stole and gain some additional effect from them. In the blue-red color type we can find Izzet Spells. Basically the whole deck revolves around casting a lot of spells and getting some kind of a profit with them. I would say the main card that you want to have in this kind of archetype would be Guttersnipe. With 1 or 2 Guttersnipes on the field, it doesn't take many spells to burn down your opponent from 20 to 0. Combine creatures that care about spells like Guttersnipe with Efficient Fliers or Fliers with Prowess like Aven Mind Mage, and you will get your opponent down to 0 in no time. Green-blue color pair is all about ramping out to big creatures. That's why it's really important that you get stuff that taps for mana, like the Druid of the Call, or cards that allow you to ramp, like Dryad Greenseeker. Skyrider Patrol, for example, is one of the best uncommons that you can find in the whole set, and it allows you to go white as well as tall. In this color pair, you just need to prioritize creatures that tap for mana and big green creatures, and you're fine to go. Blue-white is the Azorius Artefacts. This color pair cares about having artifacts on the field, because your creatures gain some additional benefit if you do. A good example is the Arrow Engineer, who gets +2/+0 and has flying as long as you control another artifact on the field. Often these artifacts are going to be some 1/1 flying Topters, so you're kind of trying to beat down in the air, as well as come up down on the board with cards like Aviation Pioneer. Cards that you don't mind sacrificing when you need to block and you're trying to pressure the opponent in the air with Flyers. Gruul Aggro is a red-green color pair. It doesn't have a specific direction. You're mostly just trying to combine efficiently costed aggressive creatures with some removal in red and green. Usually that will not be very hard to find. Like one of the better ones would be Electrify and Rabbit Bite, as well as cards like Goblin Motivator, which basically gives all your creatures haste. If you're able to cast Goblin Motivator turn 1, basically all your creatures for the rest of the game will have haste, which is going to be huge pressure on the opponent. Golgari Midrange is the green-black one. This one also doesn't have any specific synergies. You're just trying to play efficiently costed green and black creatures and combining them with good costed removal spells like Murder and Rabbit Bite. Obviously, if you pick up a Poison Tip Archer, it's a great addition to the deck, but it's not really necessary to have it. Selesnya Enchantress. That's a color pair in green-white, and it obviously, like the name suggests, it cares about having enchantments on the field. The problem with this color pair is that it demands quite a lot of you when deck building, but it doesn't give that much in return. I would definitely avoid this one when building the deck. Basically, when drafting the first pack, you should prioritize the colors like this. First black, then white, then red, then blue, then green. That only means if you have like two cards of very similar power level, but in two different colors, then I think you can prioritize black over white, for example, or white over blue. The main thing to keep in mind is that you try to find an open color, because that's how you will be rewarded in the second and third pack. Also, one big mistake that a lot of newer players make: if you open a really great card in one color, it does not mean that you will actually play that card. Play whatever's open in your city. It doesn't mean that if you open a really good black card that you will actually be able to make a good black deck at the end. Just see what the table gives you. After you finish with the first pack, it's time to move on to Core Set 2020. As you can see, in this one, the color pairs are pretty much the same in the power level as in the first pack. Definitely the best one is going to be black, then blue, then red, then green, then white. So again, green and white are kind of the weakest ones, like we had in the first pack, and black and blue seem to be again at the top. That kind of gives you a signal then that you need to be prioritizing black and blue in the first and second pack, and then you see where you go from there. Because you can see that black and blue are good in the first and second pack, you definitely should prioritize these two colors. The same as in the first pack, you're trying to prioritize good aggressive creatures in the Boros colors. It has a combination of playing efficiently costed creatures and going white. If you're lucky enough to open one of the Enchantress, definitely take it. It's one of the best uncommons or rares in the set. The second one is Dimir, so the blue-black control. Blue and black allow you to get a lot of card filtering, so you'll never be running out of action. You're trying to play cards like Tomebound Lich to basically cycle through your deck and find the efficiently costed removal spells that you have, killing your opponent's best creatures and then getting back the removal spells with Scholar of the Ages. And if they manage to kill your creatures, just get them back with Soul Salvage. If you want to grind, this is definitely the color that you need to be in. The same as in the first pack, the black-white color combination cares about getting life. We got a pretty sweet golden common in this one, in the Corpse Knight. This guy just wants to be on the field when other creatures enter the battlefield to drain your opponent out. You have quite a lot of cards that are gaining you life accidentally, like the Dawning Angel or Agonizing Siphon, which are cards that you would want to play anyway. And by gaining life, you're also draining your opponent at the same time, so it's like a win-win situation. Black-red color pair continues its sacrifice theme in the second pack. The golden common in this color pair would be Ogre Siegebreaker, but unfortunately it's not a really good card. The same as in the first pack, we don't have much in this color pair that we really want to have to play this. Basically, the game playing here is again stealing your opponent's creatures with cards like Act of Treason and sacrificing them for your own benefit, like using Blood for Bones. The blue-red color combination changes slightly from being more spell-based to being all about tempo and efficient creatures with flying. We can see that nicely in the Lightning Stormkin, which is the golden common for the color pair. It's a really well costed, like only one blue and red for flying, haste 2/2, which is all about what this color pair is trying to do now. You're trying to play hard to deal with creatures like Boreal Elemental, paired with some good removal in red, and just trying to bear down the opponent before they are able to stabilize. The blue-green color pair is now shifting more toward the elemental synergies than just ramp. Recent Reef is an incredible card that just does so much by itself. A lot of creatures in this color pair has some kind of a good entered battlefield effects or buffing each other. Not considered just a really well costed card. It's like a 2/1 flyer for 3 that draws you a card, so basically it replaces itself immediately before even getting any kind of a elemental synergy. Basically the color pair is trying to ramp out some big fatties and has some synergies between the creatures to get extra value. It's one of the better archetypes you're able to get the key cards that you can see here. With the blue-white color pair, we see a huge shift in the game plan. In the first pack, it's all about having the artifacts on the field so we get some kind of a benefit from that. And now in the second and third pack, it all switches to the standard blue-white flyers. Empyrean Eagle is a really good example of what a color pair is actually trying to do in the second and third pack. You're just trying to play good costed flyers, getting a lure down like this one, and just bashing down your opponent. Here you will need to be careful because a lot of your creatures are going to be small and evasive, which means that you will need to use combat tricks and removal to really leverage your advantage. Cards like Winged Words are going to help you never run out of gas, and Empyrean Eagle is going to increase the clock dramatically. In this color pair, you will need to prioritize the white and blue bounce and removal spells, because you're basically just trying to stall your opponent out until your flyers can end the game. Red-green aggro. Never changes much, no matter which pack we're opening. Here we're basically just trying to play good big creatures that are hard to deal with and support them with some combat tricks. Silverback Shaman is probably one of the better commons in the set. It's just really well costed. It's like a 5/4 trampler. When it dies, it draws cards, so it basically replaces itself. And always be ready for an Uncaged Fury. That thing can just end the game out of nowhere. Can you imagine Uncaged Fury on an unblocked Silverback Shaman? That's 12 damage out of nowhere. Usually opponent's going to be dead if that happens. Green-black doesn't really have that much of a game plan here. Basically, you're trying to sacrifice your own creatures for some kind of a profit. For example, a Sanitarium Skeleton is one of the best commons you can have in this color pair. You can just keep sacking it over and over and getting it back into your hand and getting some kind of an effect with it. For example, you just keep sacrificing the skeleton to your Blood-Soaked Altar and keep getting 5/5 black demon creature tokens. Also, Molderwine Reclamation is one of the better uncommons in the set, but you do need to be careful that you don't mill yourself out, because you can draw a lot of cards if you have a large board that dies. And what you need to keep in mind, it's not a made trigger that you draw a card. So basically, if something will die, you will draw a card. And it has happened that you can just mill yourself out if too many creatures die at once. The green-white color pair now focuses more on making a lot of small creature tokens. That can be really seen in the Ironroot Warlord. Basically, his power increases with the number of creatures that you control, and you can pay mana to create more 1/1 tokens. You're basically trying to develop a large board and then cast Might of the Masses on the one creature that's not going to be blocked and buff it by like 10. Here it's really important to get a lot of cards that generate tokens or care about token generation, like Woodland Champion. Unfortunately, the first pack was mostly oriented around enchantments, so you don't really have that much going on in the second pack to support you with the first one. You could be a little bit low on playables if you go the green-white one, so definitely would not recommend going into this color pair. So let's see what actually changes from the first to the second pack. Mostly it's only the Azorius. It doesn't care anymore about the artifacts, it's now more based on flyers. And Selesnya, which doesn't care about enchantments, but now cares about creature tokens. Everything else stays pretty much the same, with Boros and Dimir still having the best game plan as well as the best cards, so that's definitely what I would recommend that you try to be in the first and second pack. I'm not going to go really into specifics in the core set 2021, because by then you really need to know already what kind of color pair you're going to be in and what your deck is trying to do. What you're going to prioritize in this pack is basically just seeing what's missing in your deck. Are you missing some 2-drops? Okay, try to prioritize that. You don't have any removal? Try to pick that up. Basically, try to fill up any weakness that you think that your deck might have by this point. And please don't try to change your colors anymore. Whatever you chose, for better or for worse. One last advice I would give you is try to draft a consistent deck, not just a pile of good cards. That means that you need to try to focus on having some kind of a synergy between the cards that you're playing. Don't just play individually good cards. If you will just get outrun by some other deck that's going to have good cards plus a synergy. That's just a good tip in general for drafting any kind of set, but in a core set where you don't have many synergies, that's even more important to have something. That's it. If you guys liked the video, don't forget to leave me a like, and good luck with drafting!